Hey, hello champions. Welcome to the very first lab of IAM, that is Identity and Access Management, which is a centralized way to manage your users. So the AWS account that you just created, it's called as root account, where you log in with the email ID. Okay. Now, once you have, in an enterprise, the different users like, admins, developers, or database administrators joining you, definitely you will have to provision them access to this enterprise AWS account so that they can meet their job requirements and they can perform their job role. So let's quickly get started. So let's jump on the AWS console. So once you are into your AWS console, so this is where you need to search for the IAM service. So IAM, that is Identity and Access Management. Click on it. Okay, so this is how you would jump on a dashboard. Now we need to do two things over here. So let me quickly share the agenda of this workshop. So right now in this workshop, we'll be doing two things. First thing is we'll create an alias, and the second thing is we will create a user. So talking about alias, let's start with the first step. So what is an alias? So the thing is, when there are millions and billions of user AWS accounts, how would a user get to know which account to log in? So every account has a unique account ID. Okay, so like you see, this is my account ID. You would have another 12-digit account ID of your own. And for a minute, let me delete this alias for now. I already had an alias. So the way to sign into your AWS accounts is, let's say you created a user, and the URL that you will send him is, this is a URL. Okay, so you just copy this URL and you'll send him. But the problem is, let me show you. So if I copy this URL and let me jump on another, you can say, so this is incognito mode of Google Chrome. Okay, or you can use Edge as well. So this is a URL that you would share it with the user to sign in. But the problem with this URL is, user will have to remember the 12-digit account number to log in, or maybe you will have to note it somewhere, right? So instead of that, let's create an alias which is easy to remember. So I'll again move back to the root user. Okay, so in this account, I am logged in as a root user with the email ID. So what we will do is, let's create a quick alias. So I'll say create. And important point to note here is, make sure this alias that you create is a unique name. For example, if I create a alias with the test, that's so common name, can be used by anyone. So if I click on save changes, you would see through an error that this account alias already exists. So let's give it another shot. Let's give some unique name, demo 700. Okay, and I say save changes, and you can see I got it. And since I have used it, so you might not be able to get it if you're watching this video. Okay, so now you can see my alias is demo 700. This is my account ID, which is unique, but you can see my sign in URL changed to demo 700. So let me copy this again, and now I will jump to the URL. Okay, and now if you see, if I click this URL, which is demo700.signin, if I enter that, you would see all user will have to remember is the alias demo 700, which is so easy to remember. So you can give some creative alias to your account, and then user will have to punch in just the username and password. So that's alias, guys. Now let's come to the user creation. So if I talk about the user creation, there are three simple steps. So the user, before you create a user, we will have to create a group. So user, definitely there are different ways to create user and give him access, but here I'm talking about one simple way, where before creating a user, ideally you should create a group, because ideally that user would be part of admin, developer, or some of the team, for example finance team. So let's create a group first, and the second step is to attach permission to this group. So when you attach this permission is nothing but user will have the access that you attach to this group. Okay, then you will create a user and add it to the above group. So create a group, attach it some permissions, create a user, and add it to the group that we just created. So let's start with the action items. So again, moving back to the root user, we are into IAM dashboard. I will click on user groups. So you can see this in the left pane, and let's create a group. So here already I have some groups, but for the sake of demo, I'll create one more group. So in the top right, you would see create group okay, in the blue color. So in the top right, you select create group. Okay, and now once you are here, let's give it some name. So since admin group already existed, so I'll say admin1. So I'll create a group name called admin1, and I have named it admin1, and we'll have to attach it some policies. So if you scroll down, this is where you need to attach a policy. So since this is admin group, so let's attach a policy. So let me hunt for a policy if it's already there. So you can see when I'm searching by admin, there are some already AWS created policies, administrator access. Okay, so these are related to the job function, and these are AWS managed. So I'll click this, I check mark this, and if I scroll down, you see create a group. Okay, so here, if for example, I'm showing you admin, but if you look for database administrator, you will also find, if you have a database administrator joining you, in that case, you would create a group of database administrator, and the policy that you would attach is maybe database administrator. So if I search with database, I'll have to clear this admin. Okay, and if I search with the database, let's search again. Okay, yeah, you can see this database administrator. Okay, so you can attach that, but here, since we are looking for admin, so I'll again search admin. Administrator access is something that is what I selected, and I say create a group. So we just created a group and attached it a policy. Now we would create a user. So I'll quickly click on the user. Okay, so here in the top right, I would say add user, and let's assume we have a user Mavis who is joining us. So this is a username. So let's give it name as Mavis. And here there are two types of access. One is the programmatic and one is the console. So console means the UI. If the user wants to log in the UI, just like this, we will click on the console. Okay, and programmatic access is something that you can write an automation or script which will run from the backend behind the scene without logging into the UI. So let's not talk about this. To make this lab simple, I'll quickly select on the password AWS Management Console. So the user will have to sign in the UI, and let's give it so auto-generated password, and ideally the required password reset should be check mark, which means when the user logs in for the first time, that user will have to reset the password. Okay, but right now I won't keep it check mark. I'll uncheck it for simplicity, and then I'll say next permissions. In the next permissions, here is where you will have to add select the group which this user should be part of. So if you remember, we created a group called admin-1. So I'll select admin-1, which has got administrator access. I say next, which is tags. This tag is optional, so I'll keep it simple. I'll say review, and you can quickly see we are creating user Mavis, which will have access to the console. Password is auto-generated, no password reset required, and user is part of group admin-1. I'll say create user. Now that the user is created, this is the password you can see. So you can download this, because this screen would be available only once. Okay, so make sure you download this password or you note this password. So right now we'll copy this password, and what we will do is I will so we created alias, you remember. So I'll copy this URL and I will log into different browser. So you can use Edge as a different browser, or you can, right now I'm into Google Chrome. What I'll do is I'll go into the incognito mode of Google Chrome. So this is the incognito mode, and I'll log in with this user Mavis, which I just created. So I'll click say Mavis, and I will copy the password here. So let me jump on the console, copy this password. So I paste it here, and I'll say sign in. So there we are. I have logged in with Mavis, and in the top right you would see the username. Okay, so yeah, you would see the Mavis username in the top right. Here you might not be able to see in the screen because you have my video over there. But yeah, when you once you logged in with this new user, you would see the top right. So that's what we had in this lab. Hope you enjoyed this. I will look forward to see you in another lab. Make sure you hit this lab, and if at all you have any issues, just join me in the main session. That's where I'll see you. So take care. Cheers. Bye bye.